Migration Scripts version 2 is a feature of SQL source control and Redgate's various database deployment products, such as SQL Compare. This is how Redgate handles those tricky database deployment scenarios that traditional database diff tools struggle with. For example, table renames, adding new not null columns, and making changes to the data within a database. In this scenario, I'll discuss the problem of deploying a table rename from some source to a persistent SQL Server database that contains data. Redgate adds a table value function to the database, and this contains information about the custom upgrade script that needs to be executed prior to SQL Compare. These upgrade scripts are normally written by humans, specifically to cover the scenarios that diff tools, such as SQL Compare, can't handle. You'll see in this example that the source database contains 4 migration scripts, but the target database only has the first 2. The first step to deploy this database, therefore, is to copy across scripts 3 and 4 and execute them against the target database. Now we should be in a position where it is safe to let Redgate's SQL Compare engine work out the remaining changes to complete the deployment. Naturally, the entire process of deploying migration scripts and SQL Compare generated scripts is all wrapped into a single transaction in a single script. This means the script can easily be reviewed by a DBA prior to deployment, and it ensures that if there are errors during any part of the script, the entire deployment will be rolled back. Let's take a look at an example migration script. We start any migration script with a guard clause. This protects us from the database drift, that is, changes that occur outside of our normal process. Assuming the guard clause is satisfied, the remaining part of the script will be executed. You could write whatever T-SQL you choose in this part of the script, so whatever your task, if you can express it in T-SQL on the target database, you can deploy it using Migrations v2. In this scenario, our challenge is to deploy a table rename. You can see in this version of the script that in my guard clause, I'm checking to see if the old version of my table exists on the target database. Assuming that the table with the old name exists, I'll then execute sp rename to handle the change. Here is a full version of my migration script. By using the guard clause, I protect myself from the scenario where the table has already been renamed by somebody else. This is important because if the table has already been renamed, the sp rename would fail. Since table renames are one of the most common scenarios where migration scripts are needed, Redgate SQL source control is now smart enough to detect table renames by itself, and it will prompt you to add a migration script. What's more, in this scenario, it will generate the migration script for you automatically. In summary, Migrations v2 allows you to work on your database declaratively and deploy whatever changes we choose. We only need to maintain upgrade scripts for the scenarios where they are actually required. This helps us to get the balance right between using computers to manage the easily automatable tasks, while keeping a human in the loop, specifically when needed, to script out the more complicated parts of the deployment, based on their knowledge, experience, and judgment.